The Department of Revenue recognizes the importance of investment by what they stated in their revenue sources book, which gives the outlook for revenue and production for the state. And by 2010, in 3 short years, 25% of our projected oil production is going to come from fields that have significant new investment. New investment for 25% of our new oil. Put another way, in 10 years, 50% of our oil, just to maintain our 700,000 barrels a day, will need to come from new sources. And like I said, that is not guaranteed. Let me give you a couple of examples. You'll see this bump between 2011 and 2012. The state is projecting that in 2012, an offshore field called Liberty, which is a BP project, will come online for about 40,000 barrels a day. But Liberty is 8 miles offshore. So they're going to have the facilities onshore, and they're going to have this, what they call extended reach drilling, out 8 miles. So that means if you can visualize 8 miles from downtown, that's almost to the airport, right? Here in Juneau. So this project of this size has never been done in the world. The facilities to handle it have never, the processing facilities on Liberty will be the largest in the world. So it's a very exciting time if you're an engineer and into design, but it is not a foregone conclusion that this project will go. In fact, it hasn't been officially sanctioned by the company. But the state's already counting on that oil, even though it's an unsanctioned project, because they know the company is very serious and they're diligently working on it. But my message to you is, even with these predictions for our production to remain level at 700,000 barrels a day, it will require lots of new investment. For a moment, let's just take a look at oil and gas revenues. All of you in this room understand the importance of oil and gas. In fact, since the Trans-Alaska Pipeline, the oil and gas revenues have averaged about 83% of the state's unrestricted general fund. Now, I understand for a lot of you in Southeast, you do not necessarily see the direct benefit through jobs or even some indirect jobs here, but you can certainly see it in our state government. And you'll see in this chart, this shows fiscal year 04 to 07. So in 4 short years, our total state revenue is $2.6 billion. It's estimated in 4 short years to double to $5 billion. And Denny knows from working on lots and lots of budgets that that's a lot of money for the state. And when the legislature is fortunate to have that, then they don't have to make as hard of decisions when it comes to operating or capital projects. But with declining production, our high oil prices has somewhat masked the decline in production. And so we haven't, as a state, seen the effects because the oil prices have risen. And you can see that when the industry is successful, the state is successful. The other thing that this graph shows, but you can see a little bit where declining production is starting to come in, and that's the royalty. The royalty is the first, what I say is, it's like the first bite of the apple that the state takes from the oil industry. It is the agreement that the oil industry signs with the state to say, yes, this is what the state share should be, and on average it's about 12.5% royalty rate for our oil fields. But you'll see for the first time that the production tax is going to be more than the royalty. Historically, royalty has been the largest piece of the pie, but because of declining production, you'll see it will not be, and it actually goes down in FY07. So that's an interesting, what we think is an interesting point. So now on to our production tax system, since that will dominate the focus over the next 30 days and probably even more than that. But we've heard some in the administration say that they feel, and legislators say, that they feel that the PPT is broken. Does the industry feel that way? We do not. And why do we say that? Well, in the first 9 months, the state received over $805 million more than under the ELF system. That is an actual amount that the Department of Revenue knows they received. They're predicting for fiscal year 07, which just ended a few months ago, and we should have that final figure here shortly, but their estimation is that PPT will have brought in over $1 billion more than the gross tax system, or otherwise known as ELF. Even with that increase in taxes, though, investment is continuing. In fact, the North Slope was busier this year than they have been in a long time. If you ask the oil companies right now, they had problems getting workers, the camps were full. I mean, activity was high. The level of investment was high. We have one member, their capital expenditures for Alaska from 2005 to 2007 has almost tripled. It's one of our smaller companies, but it has almost tripled. And so that was what the legislature intended when they designed this net-based system, was that you would get more revenue when oil prices were high, but you would also get more investment. The other thing is that regulations have not been yet completed. They've had one round of regulations, but some of the tougher issues are still being written and are not finalized. And lastly, the legislature designed they knew when they passed the law a little over a year ago that it wasn't going to be perfect, and that they were going to need to revisit it at some time. So in law, it's required for them to relook at PPT in 2011. But the most important question that we think that you as business owners should be asking your legislators is, will the governor's plan increase investment? Because we feel that to address the #1 issue of production decline, you're going to need more investment. And Commissioner Pat Galvin was quoted as saying a few weeks ago in a press conference that frankly, we, the administration, have not said that ACES improves the investment climate. Clearly, there's going to be a larger state share, and that isn't going to make the economics of projects any better. Their own slides show you that. This slide is an administrative slide. This is from their press conference at the beginning of September. And you'll see this shows the net present value of 4 model projects, Project A, B, C, and D. And they describe these as the type of projects that I talked about earlier, where our future oil is going to come from. Wildcat, heavy oil, infield development, satellite fields. And you'll see that the economics get worse for every single project by 30 to 50%. As state revenue is rising by, and this is at $60 a barrel, and I think today it was 86. Yesterday I think the oil price was 86. But at $60 a barrel, the additional revenue to the state will be over $700 million, while the economics don't improve on these projects. Additionally, another good question to ask your legislators is, what are the policy goals? What are the policy goals for the tax structure? Is it to increase investment, thus increasing production? The current PPT does that. We do not feel that the governor's plan does. Is a policy goal to create long-term jobs and investment in Alaska? Isn't that how you get the maximum benefit for Alaska, is through long-term jobs versus short-term tax increases? Does it provide more state revenue over the long term, not the short term? And does it provide incentives for new exploration? So we encourage you to take a stand. We are been very active in trying to get our message out. We have an updated website at www.aoga.org. I've passed out some card magnets, but here are some things that you can do. You can talk to your legislator. In Juneau, it's easy. You're a smaller community. You probably know, without a doubt, if your representative is Representative Dahl or Kurtula. You know your senator is Kim Elton. So we encourage you to contact them and let them know why you personally, as a business owner, have concerns about raising taxes. We just feel that increasing taxes is no way to get more investment, to get more production, to address our production decline. But they need to hear from you, and you need to give them a personal reason. We're not going to give you a form letter to fill out, But you need to think about this, and we hope that you'll agree that this is a pretty serious issue for Alaska. There are some other things, like I mentioned, we have car magnets, we have yard signs, because at the end of the day, it's about jobs, not taxes. And with that, I would be happy to address any questions that anyone may have.